Centuries before the world we know today was even born, there was a great, terrifying war that threatened to destroy everything in the universe. Bor, father of Odin, battles the dark elf Malekith, who is on his path to destroy the entire universe as we know it, using a powerful weapon known as the Ether. Despite all of this power, however, Malekith fails to harness the full force of the Ether, and Bor's armies are able to conquer his enhanced warriors. When the battle is won, Bor then encases the Ether in a large stone column, thinking that would be the end of it. But sadly, that wasn't the case. Back in the present, Loki is imprisoned in Asgard for his war crimes on Earth, in his pursuit to rule as its benevolent leader, after learning that the throne of Asgard was not to be his. As this is happening, his brother, Thor, is busy expelling marauders from Vanaheim, in the final battle that will pacify the 9 realms. After the reconstruction of the Bifrost, or the Rainbow Bridge between the realms, he comes home glorious, and is well respected among his people. Meanwhile, all the way down on Earth, another bridge was forming. But not the kind one would expect. Dr. Jane Foster, after being rudely interrupted on a date by her intern, Darcy Lewis, discovers something highly unusual in an abandoned factory in London. In random spots, the laws of physics don't seem to exist. There is an area where a kid can just lift up a huge truck, and in one particular area, they could throw things off a ledge and it would either teleport above them, over and over again, or simply never come back. As her colleagues marvel at the portal, Jane goes around to explore. She eventually comes across an area of the factory that takes her to an entirely different world. It is dark, gloomy, and in the middle of it all is a tall stone column. For just a few seconds, she takes a peek in the middle, and then all of a sudden, she is infected by the Ether, once hidden there to protect the world from its dangers. Back in Asgard, the people are beginning to learn about what Jane was encountering, the convergence, or the extremely rare alignment of all the 9 realms. It is coming close, and the random appearances of portals throughout the world are proof of it. As Heimdall tells Thor about it, he is suddenly interrupted by the fact that his all-seeing eyes could no longer see Jane. Thor heads back down to Earth as quickly as possible and searches for her. By this time, she had already returned to Earth. Apparently, Jane has been gone for 5 whole hours, but to her it was only moments. By that time, cops have arrived at the abandoned factory, and while getting arrested, a strong, unearthly force unleashes itself from Jane, knocking back everyone and prompting Thor to bring her to Asgard to get her sorted out. Unfortunately, even the Asgardian healers do not really know how to treat her. But when Thor's father, Odin, walks into the operating room, he immediately recognizes what is wrong. It's the Ether. He warns her that it will destroy her if given the time, and more importantly, its presence there means great danger. And sure enough, with the Ether's release from the stone column, Malekith and the rest of his army awaken from their eons-long slumber. In the preparation to conquer the world, Malekith turns his faithful right hand, Algrim, into one of his enhanced soldiers. Sensing that the stone is in Asgard, the Dark Elves, alive once again, mount another attack in the realm. Asgard is caught off guard. After the warriors of Asgard capture some marauders, Malekith's new enhanced soldiers slip right in. From the inside, Algrim destroys cell after cell, releasing prisoners to cause chaos in the dungeon. All but one prisoner, Loki, who tells the Dark Elf to take the stairs on the left as it leaves. Outside the prison, Malekith's ships are waiting. They manage to destroy the palace's shields and crash land inside the palace itself, catching the soldiers off guard. One by one, many of Asgard's guards fall at the hands of Malekith's soldiers, but they are not what he's after. Malekith is looking for Jane, or rather, the Ether that is stuck inside of Jane. Thor's mother, Frigga, knows this, and has taken Jane with her to relative safety. Frigga uses her witch powers to create an illusion and hide Jane, but even after beating Malekith himself in a sword fight, she is no match for Algrim. Just as Algrim stabs her, though, Thor rushes in and blasts Malekith in the face with his lightning. But he is too late. Frigga is gone by the time he gets to her. Her loss would be the final one that day, as Malekith and his men pull back after he sustains severe injuries from Thor. After this dreadful attack on Asgard, the people hold a mass funeral for all that were slain. With the threat of Malekith back, Odin orders everyone not to leave Asgard, even if its defenses are down. Its finest warriors, however, do not agree. They can't just stay there and wait for something to happen. The convergence is coming, and that means Malekith is only growing stronger and stronger by the day. Besides, they all know that he would stop at nothing to get that Ether back. With that, Thor hatches a plan, a very treasonous, dangerous plan. He calls up Heimdall, Fandral, Volstagg, and Sif, and they all agree that Jane has to be taken off the planet. But with the Bifrost down and Odin watching, they need to find a different way. Luckily, Thor knows another person who knows one. Everyone thought he was stupid, even Loki himself, when Thor came to his prison cell. But Thor knows how much Loki loved their mother. He knows that Loki would want vengeance as well, even if he himself could not trust him. With that, Thor releases Loki, and the two make their way through the palace. Each step of the plan, Loki gets a good deal of threats not to betray Thor. He holds his end of the bargain well enough. After narrowly escaping with one of the ships left behind by Malekith, and jumping off to a smaller, more discreet one, Loki takes the wheel and leads them through a very narrow passageway, and into a mysterious portal. Just like that, Jane, Thor, and Loki are transported to Svartalfheim. Across this barren land, Malekith, Algrim, and the rest of Malekith's soldiers are waiting. With their plan underway and Malekith spotting them from a distance, Thor makes the difficult decision to release Loki from his bond, saying that he really wishes he could trust his own brother. Too bad, however, because Loki manifests a dagger from his hand and stabs Thor right through. Thor rolls down the hill and onto the field, with Loki and a frantic Jane trailing behind. Thor tries to fight him off, but Loki cuts off his hand and incapacitates him, before presenting Jane to Malekith in exchange for a good seat to watch Asgard burn. Malekith takes this offering, and lures the ether out from Jane. Loki and Thor watch as the red substance gets drained away from her. Once it's out, Loki lets go of the illusion, revealing that Thor was perfectly fine all along. He then takes his hammer and attempts to destroy the ether, but it's too strong. Malekith is still able to absorb the ether. As he walks away, he leaves Algrim and some of his superpowered soldiers behind to finish the job for him. While Loki is able to subdue the superpowered soldiers, Thor gets royally beaten by a superpowered Algrim. Loki stabs him from behind, but this isn't enough. Instead, Algrim ends up grabbing Loki's entire body and pushes him through the blade on his chest, mortally wounding him. But unfortunately for Algrim, Loki has way too many tricks up his sleeve. Before Loki falls, he attaches one of the bombs on Algrim's belt, which destroys him instantly. With Algrim gone, Thor runs to Loki. He cradles him in his arms, and as Loki lays there, he tells him that he will tell their father of his heroic sacrifice. But even with that, Loki tells him that he didn't do all that for Odin, implying that everything was simply in revenge for their mother. Even with Loki's passing, Thor and Jane still need to find a way to stop Malekith. Strangely enough, Jane's cell phone rings. It starts ringing right there, on a planet far, far away from Earth and the nearest cell tower. She answers, and to her surprise, it's her date from before. Turns out, in a nearby cave, all of the stuff that they had been throwing a few days ago wound up there. The two enter the area, and they discover it to be a portal that leads to the abandoned warehouse on Earth. From there, the two are able to reunite with Darcy and her intern, Ian. While Thor and Jane were taking care of business, these two went out and picked up Dr. Eric Selvig, their colleague and friend. He had been admitted to a care home after he went running around naked at Stonehenge with a contraption which he made to detect gravitational anomalies. With the team together, they figure out that Malekith plans to use the ether to destroy the universe and plunge it into darkness once again. With Selvig's background, he tells them that the landmarks all over the world are giving out directions that all point towards a center, Greenwich. That is where the center of the convergence is going to be. The group travels to the location, carrying Selvig's device, in hopes that by tweaking a few things, it could cause anomalies, or more accurately, portals, that would eventually foil Malekith's plans. When they arrive there, the group battle Malekith and his army in their attempt to destroy the universe. Little by little, the mortal humans use the device to teleport beings to far-off places, but eventually, Thor is also separated from the group, leaving them unprotected from Malekith. Luckily, he arrives just in time. The convergence has started, and the portals to the worlds are opening up. At this point, Malekith is already immensely powerful, able to create a powerful dust storm around him as he unleashes the ether onto the world. Its dark branches slowly corrupt everything it touches, and it is only a matter of time before the whole universe is enveloped in. They need to act fast, but the humans can't really go near Malekith with the device. Luckily, Thor can. Thor struggles through the thick of the storm and throws the device right up at Malekith, sending him back to Svartalfheim. Malekith disappears, and so does the huge storm. With that, Thor collapses to the ground. As Jane comes to his rescue, the giant ship that Malekith left behind starts falling down over them. As they all brace themselves, however, it vanishes, and somewhere in Svartalfheim, it crashes directly on top of Malekith, crushing him before he can destroy the universe. After this heroic feat, things slowly go back to normal. Thor heads on back to Asgard, much to Jane's disappointment. Darcy tries to comfort her, saying that he will come back eventually. Meanwhile, in Asgard, after Thor's heroic feats, despite committing treason, his father, Odin, tells him that Asgard is now his kingdom. He is next in line to be king, and with the whole 9 realms witnessing the great sacrifice he made for them during the convergence, everyone wants him to rule. But despite all that glory, Thor doesn't want the throne. He would rather be a good man than a great king, and he wants to go and find himself. Odin mulls over the fact that he once had a son that wanted the throne a little too much, and now he has it. Thor doesn't even want it at all. With Thor denying the throne, Odin lets him be. Thor walks away, smiling, but as he does, back at the throne, Odin slowly transforms and turns into none other than a grinning Loki seated on the throne of Asgard.